What would you eat if you knew it was your last meal ever? Today, we're diving into one of the most morbidly fascinating aspects of death row inmates, their final requests. From KFC to a single olive, the choices are as shocking as the crimes that led them to execution. In this video, we'll not only be exploring the last meals of infamous serial killers, but also the stories behind their actions and how these final moments reflect their personalities. So, sit back and prepare for a chilling journey through the final moments of some of the most notorious criminals in history. Let's start with one of the most infamous, John Wayne Gacy, also known as the Killer Clown. This man terrorized Chicago, murdering at least 33 young boys. Gacy was arrested in 1978 and after years of appeals, he was executed in 1994. Before his execution, Gacy requested a final meal that reflected the man trying to reclaim the simple comforts of life. 12 fried shrimp, a bucket of KFC chicken, French fries, and a pound of strawberries. It's as if he was trying to reach back into the past for some sense of normalcy. After all, Gacy had lived a double life. Respected contractor by day, killer by night. But Gacy wasn't the only notorious serial killer with a dark past who chose familiar foods. Let's talk about Ted Bundy, one of the most well-known criminals of the 20th century. Ted Bundy, the charismatic yet ruthless serial killer, was responsible for at least 30 murders in the 1970s. He was executed in 1989, and his final meal request was nothing special. Despite his fame and the brutality of his crimes, Bundy chose the most basic of meals: steak, eggs, toast with butter and jelly, hash browns, milk, and juice. Bundy was known for his manipulative and charming nature, but his final meal showed an almost indifferent attitude. It was almost as if he had come to accept his fate. Aileen Wuornos, on the other hand, was much more complex. Wuornos, a prostitute turned serial killer, was convicted of murdering 7 men. Her crime spree shocked the public, and she became the subject of the film Monster. Yet, her final meal was shockingly simple: just a cup of coffee. No elaborate last meal, no decadent foods, just coffee. A reflection of the loneliness and emotional turmoil she had endured throughout her life. But some serial killers' last meal requests weren't just about food, they were deeply symbolic. Take Peter Kürten, known as the Vampire of Dusseldorf, who committed 9 murders and terrorized the city in the 1920s. He was executed in 1931. Kürten's last meal consisted of a schnitzel with fried potatoes, a simple meal. However, he asked that the meal be accompanied by a toast, as if he were celebrating the end of his own dark journey. But the story doesn't end there. One of the most bizarre requests came from a man named Victor Feguer. Feguer, who was convicted of murder in 1963, asked for a single olive with the pit still inside as his final meal. Why? Well, some believe Feguer was trying to plant the olive pit in his grave, hoping that it would grow into a tree. His strange request reflected a man who, even at the end, was holding on to hope, or perhaps defiance. In a similar vein, some killers have made last requests that reflect their desire for comfort, a final taste of freedom before they face their fate. Let's talk about a more recent case. Michael Tanzi, convicted of a brutal murder in Florida, was executed in 2025. His final meal consisted of a pork chop, bacon, baked potato, and an ice cream. Another disturbing example comes from Danny Rowling, the infamous Gainesville Ripper, who was convicted for the gruesome murders of 5 college students in Florida. Rowling was executed in 2006. He requested a very decadent last meal: lobster tail, shrimp, French fries, and a slice of chocolate cake with a glass of sweet tea. His request was far from humble, reflecting the indulgent nature of his crimes. And then there's Bobby Glenn Wilcher, who was executed in 2006. Wilcher's request was a combination of comfort foods: shrimp, onion rings, garlic bread, and a strawberry milkshake. Brad Sigmund, executed in South Carolina in 2025, made an even more extreme request. He wanted 4 pieces of fried chicken, mashed potatoes with gravy, green beans, biscuits, cheesecake, and sweet tea. Sigmund's final meal reflected his desire to indulge in everything that had been denied to him during his life in prison. It was a feast, a last celebration of the pleasures of the world. Now, let's talk about the case of Gary Heidnik, also known as the Father of the Year killer. Heidnik was convicted of kidnapping, torturing, and murdering 2 women, and was responsible for keeping several others in captive. He was executed in 1999. For his last meal, Heidnik requested a cheeseburger, fries, and a Diet Coke. He chose something incredibly simple, perhaps a reminder of his mundane existence in the outside world before his gruesome crimes. Heidnik's request was often considered to be a chilling reflection of the stark contrast between the ordinary and the horrific acts he had committed. And lastly, we have the story of James Smith, an Arkansas man who was convicted of the brutal murder of an elderly woman. Smith was executed in 2007. His final meal request was a humble one: 2 pieces of fried chicken, mashed potatoes, and a soft drink. His simplicity, much like Bundy's, seemed to suggest a sense of resignation in his final moments. So, what do these final meals tell us? Are they a sign of remorse, defiance, or just a last desperate attempt to feel some sense of normalcy before the end? Each meal tells a different story, reflecting the personalities, regrets, or defiance of those who committed the unimaginable. From the strange, like Feger's olive, to the indulgent, like Rowling's lobster tail, these final requests offer us a glimpse into the complex minds of those who spend their final days on death row. Out of all the final meals, the one that stayed with me the most was Victor Feger's, a single olive, pit included. While others chose comfort, nostalgia, or excess, he chose symbolism. Some believed he wanted an olive tree to grow from his grave. Whether that's true or not, there was something hauntingly poetic about it. Quite a gesture that hinted at life sprouting from death. Thanks for watching. If you found these final meals as chilling and fascinating as we did, don't forget to like and subscribe for more strange and haunting stories. And of course, let us know in the comments, what would your last meal be?